I'm Brandon Fogarty, the co-founder and creative director of Komune.
And I'm Victoria Maung. I'm a co-lead and I'm the events director for Komune.
Oh man. It was like Jordans. It was like sneakers. And then from there it was like, okay, what do I wear with the sneakers? And it was like, oh, that's what fashion is. It's like the whole outfit, it's the whole look. And then, well, I think that's what style is. And then what got me into fashion was like learning more about what was behind the clothes I was putting on myself. So I think it was just a gradual thing from like streetwear to fashion. I mean, I was into like sneakers in middle school, but I'd say I got into fashion like sophomore year in high school.
I feel like for me, it was probably like also in high school, like early high school, so like mid 2010s, and that was like when like fashion blogging and like Instagram kind of like fashion was like starting to become like kind of like big. And I think I just like started following a lot of like New York influencers, especially like a lot of like Asian influencers, and I was like, oh my god, like Rag and Bone and just like all these like other like more like standard brands, and then like slowly like transitioning into like color, and then like now like just like wearing black, and like yeah, so I feel like it's just been the slow like social media transition for me.
I mean, when Martin and I started talking about it, it was just talking about having a physical and digital space for people like us, basically. So it's rooted in community, and it's rooted in emerging designers, giving them a platform because we're like emerging ourselves, you know? So I think it's just looking at our peers and creating a space, physical and digital, for us to like come together and create community. We have Harlot Hands, Carolyn Dealer, Hyper Objects, Meiosis Design, and Wenjulu for jewelry. And then we have Benjamin Greco and Jisung M for leather bags. And then we have for our ready-to-wear, Anermis, Asynectics, Nibnus, Black Merle, Kozaburo, Jordan Arthur Smith, and Talk L. Is that everybody? And Comaware. So I don't know many of them personally. It was a matter of Martin having the ability to go travel to Asia to have meetings with these designers and shake their hands and say, like, there's a real person behind this, and there's a real passion behind it, and that's something that could only be communicated through like the shaking of hands, just meeting someone in person. So I think it was that big trip that was a big turning point for us. So it's been through that process that we've been able to get to know the designers, especially Jordan Arthur Smith.
I'd say like my favorite piece is like the Greco like compressed carry-all. Like a lot of people like on our team bought it. It's like a little like leather bag. It's like a kind of like a tote in a tote bag shape. And I think that like that's been super popular with a lot of people as well. And I think like even with his designs, there's like a going out purse, but then there's also like an everyday tote bag. So I think it's like super cool that like seeing like what pieces like people gravitate towards, like based on like whether they're shopping for like an occasion, because we've had a lot of people come in for like specific things, and then like other people just like looking for more like everyday kind of objects. Yeah.
One of my favorite being the Black Merle like hooded jacket, which has just turned into like my everyday item. Like every day I'll put it on and I'll walk out and I'll feel good and comfortable. Go first.
I think my favorite designer right now is Grace Ling. I've like really loved her work for like the last like couple of years. Really love that she comes from like a sculptural background and like translates that to her clothing. She also has jewelry. And I know she recently just like showed her first runway this year. It's like a good balance between like things you could probably wear like every day, but then also pieces that feel really special.
I'm probably taking this question way too deep, but right now I say the person that's like at a big house sending looks down a runway that's made me really excited is Jonathan Anderson. Beautiful use of like color blocking and just walk them down a white runway, and with these very simple silhouettes that's really like inspired by everyday wear, but then just like that little bit different, and that just works for me. You start.
Me?
Yeah.
Why me?
I think you have something to say.
Well, I'm against gatekeeping. A part of like why we started this was because we felt that retail stores were very like unapproachable and very like gatekeepy. Like a lot of retail stores say they stock emerging designers, but like they don't really like walk you through. All parts of the industry are very like opaque, and it's really hard to just get like basic information about like even like starting to work like in the fashion industry. Yeah, I feel like a really big part of Komune is like giving people who are really eager and like passionate and wanting to learn that information, because I think that that's kind of like how we all started out and like why we're all so interested in fashion. We kind of just like found our way into it, and I think like we're here to try to like pave a way for people to intentionally like get into it like in an easier way. And I think gatekeeping is just mean. People think it's like cool to be mean, but I think it's just like you're just being mean.
Anti-gatekeeping. I was very inspired by Virgil Abloh at Louis Vuitton, just all his work, because he would kind of access the keys and instantly just give it away. He has entire websites where he tells you how to start your own like off-white, and like he'll fight and pave that pathway and like lay it with perfect bricks so that you can walk it and then like pick up where he left off. And I just think that's the most admirable thing. So, and with Komune, like in the future, we want to make these resources really easily accessible. It's so much more liberating to like give that away, and then you just keep moving, and then everyone's with you now. What's funny is that on the morning of the first day and on the morning of the last day, we still thought that like no one was gonna show up. Of course, we were amazingly surprised, and the real goal of having this pop-up was to test a full-scale space, a full-scale retailer, to test what that was going to feel like for the people here, just to see if people are going to like it.
Yeah, we had an opening party the night before we opened on the 1st, and I like ran the party with my co-lead Leah, and we were just like freaking out for like the month leading up to it, because we were like, we'll be lucky if like 20 people come. I think at that point in August we were like sort of gaining like a Instagram presence, but we were still like, well, does this translate to like an in-person audience? And I think that this month especially, we've thrown like an event like almost like every week, and I think that we've been really, really thankful for like the turnout.
And I think what would wrap up like the whole journey from like zero to here is we started our Instagram and like our TikToks and our reels just like talking about the things that we liked and just seeing how people thought about what we thought and how we felt. We're just putting out this energy of what interests us, of what we're into and what we hope others are into. All this to say, like, embracing our cringe, it like made us like meet so many beautiful people. The next step is to check in with our team, see how everybody feels after this crazy like marathon. We need to rest and then come back stronger.
So we've been working on this for like how many months?
10 months.
We're focused on rest and like thinking about what we want to do for the future, because it's still not set in stone.
I'll quote Martin where he says, I don't know what's coming in the future, but I can promise you ambition and I can promise you a physical space.